Hi friends, previous chapter we talked about the brake system in the automotives, that is various types of the brake systems used in the passenger cars, medium and heavy commercial vehicles, construction machines and the mining machines. Now in this chapter I am going to explain about the steering system. This chapter will be having 5 videos starting from the number 1 introduction about the steering system in the automobile. The second one will be explanation about the one of the conventional steering system, that is rack and pinion system, being used in the majority of the passenger cars. The third one will be what we are using in all the latest cars, that is the power assisted rack and pinion steering system. The fourth one will be the steering system used in the construction mining machines, that is the orbital steering system. The fifth one will be about the steering geometry. We all have seen the steering wheel looks like this in the vehicle. Of course, this is the left-hand side, left-hand drive vehicle. In India, we can see the steering wheel in the right-hand side of the vehicle. You know very well what is the purpose of steering, because depending on the road turns or road curves or road conditions, we should be able to steer the vehicle in the desired direction. That's why the steering mechanism is required in the vehicle. What are the main functions of the steering system? One is to negotiate the road turns based on the depending on the road conditions. Means the driver should be able to steer the vehicle precisely and safely based on the turnings of the road. That is point number. The other function is the steering mechanism of the vehicle should be able to convert the rotary motion into linear motion. What is rotary motion here? The rotary motion is the steering wheel, because the steering wheel is in circular. We will be rotating the steering wheel either clockwise or anti-clockwise, either left or right side to negotiate a turn. Whereas the tires which are on the ground move in a linear direction, that is they move either left side or right side. So what is changing this rotary motion into linear motion? We will discuss. This is the representation of the conversion of the rotary motion into linear motion. This gear wheel is rotating in a circular path, whereas this straight gear is moving in a linear way. The third function of the steering system is to give mechanical advantage to the driver. Means the driver should be able to steer the vehicle irrespective of the load condition. Means with minimum fatigue it should. So that is the mechanical advantage given by the steering system, steering mechanism. The other function is the steering geometry or the steering mechanism should protect the tires from the premature wear. The tire should give the possible long life in the vehicle. The other function is the driver comfort. Driver should not feel any kind of tiredness during the steering operation. So the steering wheel comfort and the steering wheel adjustments, the steering position adjustment, you can see the vehicles with tiltable steering, height adjustable steering, many things are there. So it should give the required comfort to the driver. The other important function is the self-centering of the steering. So the moment turning is over, when we release the effort on the steering wheel, the tire should automatically come to the straight line. So that is called self-centering. All this self-centering occurs with the proper steering geometry. Then it should be able to absorb the shocks occurring due to the improper road conditions, that is the up and down roads, potholes, to the extent possible along with the suspension system. Then when we look at history for a few seconds about the steering system, this is a two-wheeler, if it's a bicycle or motorcycle, the steering action is done by through this handle. This handle is used for the balancing the vehicle as well as to negotiate a curve or turn. If it's a car, as we discussed, there will be a circular steering wheel in the hands of the driver. If you just look at the history of the steering system in the automobiles, the earlier model cars used to have tiller mechanism to steer these front wheels. The tiller looks like this. tiller in synchronization with the brake system of the vehicle and also the acceleration of the engine. The tiller used to work in moving these wheels left or right direction. These are the initial days, earlier days mechanism they used to have to steer the vehicle. What is the inspiration behind using this tiller like this? The main inspiration was a sailing boat. You can see all the sailing boats, even now, even mechanized motorized boats also they use the tiller. This is the tiller which is in the hand of a captain, and the other end of the tiller is connected to a rudder which is used to change the direction of the flow of the water. You can see this animation. So if you move this tiller, this is the rudder. Rudder changes the direction of the water, which makes the boat to turn left or right. So this mechanism is the inspiration behind using this tiller mechanism in the cars in the earlier days. Then as the time progressed, tiller has converted to the circular steering wheel. This is a circular steering wheel. The very first one used by Mr. Alfred Vacheron in 1894 in his 4 HP race car. Then followed by the other car users. And if you see the earlier days steering wheel looks like this, very simple. Then the modern steering wheel looks like this with lot many other functions embedded in the steering wheel. The horn is here, the light controls, indicator controls, and so many other controls are here. Music controls, even nowadays the mobile control, everything is in the steering wheel. It also have the most important one, the airbag, which is another safety item in the car. This is how the steering wheel is developed from a tiller stage to the circular steel ways and the advanced circular wheel stage, which is also considered as an ergonomic item in the cabin. Let us talk about a simple steering schematic in a vehicle. This figure represents the rack and pinion steering system. This is the circular steering wheel, okay, which is used by driver. Then there is a steering column, a hollow metallic shaft. Inside the column, there is a steering shaft. One end is connected to the steering wheel, the other end is connected to a pinion. There is a universal joint connecting in between this pinion and the steering shaft because the axis of the steering shaft is different from the axis of the pinion. So you know very well, whenever the power transformation is required between two different axis items, the universal joint is used. So same way the universal joint is used here. And this pinion is meshed with a horizontal gear which is called a rack. Okay, when the pinion rotates, the steering wheel rotates, the shaft rotates, the pinion rotates like this. When the pinion is rotating like this, that is clockwise here, the rack is moved towards left, and the rack is having tie rods at both ends, this one and this one. The other end of the tie rod is connected to the wheels like this. The steering wheel is turned, the shaft is turned, the pinion is turned, and the rack is not turned. Here it is the rotary motion is converted into linear motion like this. See, like this, like this, like this. The rack will move either this direction or direction horizontally to move this both the wheels which are on the ground, giving steering effect to the vehicle. This is how the steering system functions in a vehicle. Please go through these 3 pages notes. In case you have any doubts or queries, you can contact me through the email. Next video we'll discuss about the rack and pinion steering system and its various components, how they functions. This is the small animation about the steering. You can see how it works. The circular motion is converted into the linear motion because of this rack and pinion arrangement, and as these tie rods are connected to the wheels move like this.